boy, this is the kind of video that we're going to be making today, huh? Will I regret this? Yes, very much so. I don't think there's anything I could do that'll make me feel happy for making this video, but we're going to be doing it anyway. Fuck. Okay, so for context, yes, we are going to be talking about Update 3 for Sonic Frontiers. But we're not going to just keep it sort of to that. To be more precise, I'm going to be talking about Sonic Frontiers kind of as a whole. I'm not going to be going over the stuff that exists in the base game because, well, that would mean that I'd have to be happy. And we can't have that. That doesn't make good content. Duh. I'll go out and say this first before we start because I've looked through a bunch of different videos, a lot of different opinions on this game. And overall, it seems like Update 3 kind of has like a mixed reception. On the one hand, a lot of people really love this update, and they're happy with all the stuff that was added. But on the other hand, there's a broken controller. It's pretty divisive, to say the least. There's people who like the update, there's people who hate the update, and there's some people that are kind of like indifferent with it. For me, I personally fucking despise it, but I feel I still have to say this for the video, okay? I've said some similar stuff for some other things in the past, so don't feel too surprised when I say this. If you're someone who hates the DLC, good for you. If you're someone who likes the DLC, good for you. If you're going to be someone, however, who's going to be making videos or comments or whatever, telling people to get good or that it's not that hard or whatever, you could fuck a sea urchin. And if you're someone who thinks that the people who like the update are masochists or they're brain dead or whatever, you also fuck a sea urchin. Simply to put it, don't be fucking cunts to people. I mean, hell, that should be common sense at this point. It's a fucking video game about a blue anthropomorphic hedgehog. And we're fighting over this? Really? Didn't know we were all still in kindergarten and we're still fighting over fictional characters. I didn't fucking know we were still at this point. But hey, I'm sorry. I guess clearly I missed the memo. Now, I'm not going to talk about everything for Sonic Frontiers Update 3 because I didn't beat it. And there's also a lot of stuff I didn't do, but I'm going to cover a few things separately and talk my opinions on them. There will be spoilers, of course, so if you want to play through the update yourself or you don't want to get spoiled, whatever, bye-bye. But anyway, I'll start off with what the update brings in terms of gameplay and what you're doing and everything and whatnot. And why it pisses me the fuck off in some cases. So if you guys remember, Update 3 basically told us, hey, you get to play as these three characters that you haven't seen playable since 06. To say the least, we had all full right to be excited. We were able to play as Amy Rose, Knuckles the Echidna, and Miles Tails Prower. You know, I just realized I could have made a joke just saying Tails the Fox just to see if I can get a rise out of people. Anyways, without going into the story portion just yet, basically Amy, Tails, and Knuckles are going to be looking for the Chaos Emerald while Sonic goes doing his own thing involving cyber corruption stuff. We'll get to that momentarily. I want to talk about how these characters control first, just to get that out of the way. So, the order is Amy, Knuckles, Tails, and then you play as Sonic for a bit, and then back to that same order, and then Sonic again, then you fight the final boss. So, when you start off playing as Amy, okay, she can boost. I don't know why she's able to boost, but she's able to boost. So, yeah, all the playable characters, they can boost. They can homing attack, which that, funny enough, isn't too strange because they were all able to attack in games like Shadow the Hedgehog. But then again, they were just carbon copies of Shadow in that instance, so I don't know if that's really saying much. Anyways, each individual character has their own skill tree. You know, kind of like what Sonic has, for example. But here's what's fucking great. When you first play as Sonic in Sonic Frontiers, you don't have a lot of Sonic skills naturally, but you still have the bare essentials to get you by. Amy can't even fucking attack at first. Like, yeah, she can homing attack, but she doesn't have any offensive fighting capabilities. You have to get that via a skill, and speaking of the skills, Psy-looping. Psy-looping was introduced in Sonic Frontiers to be a main way for you to interact with puzzles and well, to basically just get through the game. It costs 1 skill point and you don't have it by default. What the fuck? Just let us keep the Psyloop by default. Why? I don't get it. And this is for every character. This isn't just Amy. For everybody else, you have to get the Psyloop. It's 1 skill point, but you gotta do it. I don't fucking get it, man. And the skill points, while you could still get them from Psylooping around or, you know, fighting enemies and whatnot, you will mainly be getting them from these Cocos that have backpacks that'll give you a certain amount of skill points. Don't fight enemies for the love of God unless you're powerful enough, because Jesus fucking Christ. You also need to get some skill points in order to be able to stomp, which Amy's stomp is the only one that's good. I would talk more about Knuckles and Tails, but it takes forever for them to even hit the ground after hitting their stomp, so it's like, I don't really want to explain it. But anyways, let's get back on topic here, shall we? Basically, what Amy's going to be doing is running around and... Let me look back at the video I recorded. What the fuck was Amy supposed to be doing again? Okay, so when you first play as Amy, you're going around trying to find the Chaos Emeralds. Like I mentioned, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, they're all looking for the Chaos Emeralds for Sonic. However, when you go to a lot of the pedestals, you're unable to find them. There's a stupid-ass cutscene where Amy has tarot cards, and like, look, I get it, she likes her tarot cards and stuff, but like, this feels forced. I don't care what anybody says, it feels so fucking forced. Then we need to go to the Elder and Hermit Coco, and then now we're playing as Knuckles. So, Knuckles is able to punch at the beginning. I would be remiss if I didn't have it right out the bat. Knuckles' glide is, weird. You know how Sonic's homing attack has, like, this weird delay in the air after homing attacking an enemy? Knuckles kinda has that for his startup glide. And I just realized I didn't talk about Amy's abilities. Anyways, when you start up a glide, Knuckles kinda just, stays in the air for a bit and then starts gliding. When in previous games, he would just go. Seriously, how do you fuck that up? The homing attack I can kind of get because there was something similar to this in like Sonic 06. But for Knuckles? What the hell, man? Not to mention that Knuckles can't climb on anything. You know the substances? What the fuck? The surfaces that Sonic is able to climb on and whatnot. Knuckles can climb onto those too, but there's also these red pillars that basically only Knuckles can climb on, but they function the same way as the other walls, so why do these exist? Other than to let you know, hey, this is an area for Knuckles, why make it to where only he can climb up them? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's the same damn thing and it functions the same damn way, it's just only Knuckles can use it. That's dumb. But yeah, other than that, Knuckles can only climb on those things. He can't climb on anything else. Although I have looked at streams and videos and I've seen people fly with Knuckles. Well, at least Sonic Boom fans are happy. Anyways, what Knuckles is actually doing makes a little more sense. Not really. He's going around punching these weird totem things with a Coco on them, and then after doing so, he finds a Chaos Emerald and there's a force field around it. Oh wait, that's the same thing that happened at the end for Amy. Then afterwards we start playing as Tails. Remember when I said that you didn't have a lot of stuff unlocked for Knuckles and Amy right at the beginning? Tails literally can't do anything. I mean, he could fly and boost, but that's it. He functionally cannot do anything else. You need to find one of these backpack Cocos just so Tails can attack, and even then, Tails just... he can't homing attack. I'll have to look back at the footage, but from when I played, I don't think he can homing attack. I think he only throws wrenches, which we should have just gave him a gun. By the way, speaking of Tails' flying, it's kind of similar to how Sonic Adventure 2's flying is, you know, in the Chow Garden sort of thing, where you can basically just kind of hover about. It's not really a fly, but before you do start up the fly, Tails gets this like huge jolt of altitude straight into the air, which is pretty cool. But another thing is, Jesus Christ, he's fast with this. I've never gotten max speed with all of the characters, so I don't know if this is faster than any of the characters running. I mean, you'd also have to combine it with the spin dash for it to be better. Wait, hang on a minute. Wait, what the fuck? So let me get this straight. Sonic needed to do shitty-ass challenges to unlock the spin dash. The spin dash that, may I remind you, used to be a staple in a lot of the Sonic games. But for Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, they could just unlock it from the skill tree. There is no God. And for those who say that, oh, it's perfectly fine to launch the spin dash behind something, ordinarily, I would agree with you. if it wasn't in such a stupid fucking manner. And Update 3 will just give Sonic the Spin Dash anyway, even if you haven't unlocked it. How do I know? Simple. My save file corrupted and I lost my Spin Dash along with my full boost gauge. Anyways, what Tails does is actually very similar to Knuckles. He goes around finding these Cocos with little screens on them. Basically the same thing, except Knuckles comes with a QuickTime event. Well, I say a QuickTime event, it's more of you just mashing X over and over again. Or square. Or Y. Or whatever the fuck it is on PC, mouse and keyboard. The point is, Tails is just walk up to it, interact with it, and you're done. Anyways, after Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, I keep saying them out of order and in different orders, ignore that. Once they find out that they're unable to access the Chaos Emeralds next, then we go to Sonic and we need to climb up the towers and whatnot. I'll talk more about that in a bit, but let's talk about going back to Amy and the others. So when you go back to Amy, you're actually going around finding all the Cocos in hopes that they can help out, I guess? I don't fucking know, she says. Yeah, you know what, they'll be helpful. It's like, I feel like I know where you're going with this, but like, out of context, that makes no fucking sense. So anyways, you collect a certain amount of Cocos and then bring them to the Elder Coco. I think it's the Elder, I'm pretty positive, but at this point, I get them both mixed up all the time anyway. And it's a specific one of the Cocos, too. You can't go to the original ones that increase your stats. No, you gotta go to this one that looks like he's trying to be God. After that, then you can actually go and obtain one of the Chaos Emeralds. But as we can see, Amy is getting some cyber corruption stuff going on. Ooh, spooky and interesting. Interesting, you know? Yeah! Then Knuckles punches more things and then he finds a Chaos Emerald. Wait, what? Hold on, so you mean to tell me that Amy got to do something unique, but Knuckles just had to do the same exact fucking thing? Well, maybe Tails will be more unique. Nah, cool. Not unique at all, in the slightest. Great, love it. Okay, that's... So Amy was the only one who got something unique to do in her second movement. And granted, it wasn't anything to write home about, it was just running around finding Cocos, but it was still something to do that was different than just going around talking to the Cocos, you know? Even though you still haven't talked to them anyway. But for Knuckles and Tails, their movement's exactly the same. Just do what you need to do and then go find the Chaos Emerald. Would have been more interesting if Knuckles found out that there was some certain boss that was basically making the emeralds, I don't know, harder to access and whatever, and he had to fight it and take it down or something. That would have been kind of cool. You know, give us a unique guardian that only Knuckles can fight. That would be sick. Which, since that's technically where is the end of playing those characters. I mean, you could switch through them if you want after you're playing as like Sonic and shit, but let me say something. You don't need to level up their skills or stats. If you guys remember, in Sonic Frontiers, you're able to upgrade 4 different stats. Maximum ring counter, maximum speed, maximum attack, and maximum defense. They're pretty self-explanatory and straightforward. With each individual character, they all start at level 1, but similarly to Sonic, you can use all the same stuff that you level up his stuff in order to level up the other character stuff. The thing is, other than speed for your own personal preference, you don't need these other stats at all. And I'm not saying this because the portions with these characters are easy, I'm saying it because you don't really need to fight anything. And even when you do, they're just badniks all over the place, which why the fuck are badniks all over the place? I thought we were fighting that. Never mind, I'll get to that later. Anyways, the only reason that I leveled up strength and defense was because I misclicked. I didn't really care to do this. The characters never need to fight any form of Guardian or enemies like that. You can go out of your way to fight the Guardians, but it virtually does nothing for the most part, at least not in terms of progressing the story. Let me just go ahead and backtrack a bit how I've been kind of talking negative. I want to talk a little more of the positives, because despite how much I didn't really care about playing as Amy or Tails, and I feel that Knuckles was sluggish, you might think that I hated playing them. Not so, actually. Sure, they're far from how I would have wished that they would play, but the fact that I was getting a unique playstyle instead of just boost formula Sonic with quick step whenever the fuck he wants, I actually enjoyed my time playing these characters, even if they weren't as great as I would have wanted them to be. I don't think they're perfect, but they're a decent enough base that you can, you know, build upon it and see what you can improve from there, you know? If that kind of makes sense. After all, with Sonic Frontiers, it's basically just testing out the waters, trying to see what does and doesn't work, so that way for the next Sonic game and whatnot, we can get some better things, or maybe some new things from some of the original stuff that maybe didn't even work out all that great, you know, if that makes sense. But oh my god, I hope the story changes more. That's what I want to talk about now. I want to talk about the story and Sonic's portions. Because oh my fucking god, wow. Everything else I've mentioned, while it was kind of samey and monotonous, it wasn't really anything to complain about. Aside from the one part where I had to glitch through some lasers as Tails because it wasn't really clear what I was supposed to be doing. Like seriously, I flew around this giant box for like almost 30 minutes not knowing what the fuck I was doing, and then I just prayed to God that I could glitch through the lasers, and I remembered who worked on the game, and it was Sonic Team, so I shouldn't be surprised that I was able to glitch through the lasers. Oh, but Sonic stuff is gonna get me all crazy, and this is where we're also gonna talk about the story. So I'll try my best to describe how I felt about this, and I hope that's how people are seeing this. This is just how I felt through all this. Obviously, I'm not saying that the game or the update or whatever overall is bad. I'm saying that I overall had a shit experience with it. I want to make that fucking clear. I probably should have said that around the beginning when I was telling people to not be cunts to one another, but, you know, fuck you guys. None of y'all seem to listen sometimes. Well, first, let's talk about how you actually access Update 3, which I probably should have explained before, but it kind of goes along with the story. So, if you remember, after completing all the towers in Sonic succumbs to cyber corruption, and Tails, Knuckles, and Amy basically use the power of friendship in order to stop the corruption. Now, what I thought Update 3 was going to be, I thought it was going to be kind of like something from like Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic 06, where you would play as the other characters trying to reach the certain goal. In Sonic Adventure 2's case, you were basically playing as everybody except Shadow. Basically, I think it was trying to get to the core of the arc. I don't remember the exact thing, but if you guys have played Sonic Adventure 2, you would know what I'm talking about. Or for Sonic 06, where you played as the other characters trying to get all the Chaos Emeralds in hopes to revive Sonic to get ready to fight Solaris and all that shit. So I was thinking that Update 3 was going to be something like that, where we would play as Knuckles, Tails, and Amy, and basically see how they fight off Sonic's cyber corruption. Or we could just not explain it at all. I don't know. I'm just saying. It would have been a cool idea. Just would have been a cool idea. In order to access Update 3, you need to first go on to Aranos. And right to the side of the spawn area, you'll see a giant warp ring. It'll display a message basically letting you know, hey, you should probably beat the base game first before you go through here. But, you know, it's just a recommendation, you know. You know, looking back, that wasn't a recommendation. That was a fucking threat. So, there's a cutscene that plays where Sonic jumps through the warp ring, and the story is basically telling a what-if scenario where Sage and Sonic go through a different plan instead of the original plan that they had in the base game. So you would think that the next cutscene that starts off would maybe be Sonic, Sage, and Eggman just walking about, and maybe Sage brought up an idea or whatever. So Sonic jumps out of the warp ring and starts running forward, and then Sage and Eggman just happen to be in front of Sonic and basically telling Sonic about the plan and whatnot. And what the fuck is going on here? Seriously? Is this the same Eggman and Sage? I ask this because we jumped through a warp ring, and at first I thought it was just, you know, a way for us to get to the different alternate story, you know, it's whatever, right? But it's making me believe that Sage and Eggman went through the warp ring first, and then, I don't know, they maybe fiddled around and shit, and they came up with their fucking shitty-ass stupid plan, and then, like, I don't understand from a story point. It would have been fine from a gameplay standpoint if Sonic just went through and then a cutscene started to basically show an alternative story, but no, Sonic just exits the warp ring that he jumps through and just runs forward, and that's it, and I'm just... Oh my god! So anyways, what is this new plan that Sage and Sonic have come up with in order to fight off Supreme and the End and, you know, all the big bad stuff that's going on? Well, remember the cyber corrupt? It basically went along like this, if you will.
Alright, here comes another warp ring. I haven't seen these things in years. Like, It's seriously been years. All right, here we go. Okay, please God, bring me somewhere new. I see it. It's the light of God. Wait, no, it's a new adventure. I can see it all. Wait, is this the same fucking... you're fucking kidding me. It's the fucking same. Everything is the same. Like, what the fuck? Where the fuck are you going? Look, I don't have time for the fucking...
Hey, I'm totally the same exact sage. Like, I totally didn't go through the warp ring or anything. Look, we have a new plan. A very important one.
Okay, what do you got?
So, do you remember how your friends basically sacrificed their well-being in order to stop your cyber corruption?
Yeah?
So what if we just reverted all of that, and then tried to turn your cyber corruption into a Super Saiyan 2 form?
What? We can't do that.
Why not?
We can't. It doesn't make sense to do.
Well, listen, you're gonna go with it, whether you like it or not. Hey, I'm not done talking to you.
I am. Get the fuck out of the way.
Listen here. You are going to follow along with this whether you like it or not, or I'm going to get my digitized noose and fucking hang you with it, you blue gumball son of a bitch.
Holy shit, she's fucking cooking you, dude. Okay, well, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna listen to the emo kid. So, get
What if
out
I
of the
told
way.
you that your friends can do everything for you while we do something else entirely?
To be fair, Sonic, your friends can do everything you do, but better. Oh, fuck off, Egghead.
Yeah, they even have the spin dash on their skill tree, unlike you dumb bitch.
Fine, whatever. It's not like I want to or anything. Jesus, this is great design.
Just like your game.
What?
So basically, with some unknown power that I didn't know Sage apparently had, brought Tails, Knuckles, and Amy back from the, I don't know, depths of hell. I don't even know where they went after the whole cyber corruption thing. And speaking of which, Sonic looks decently fine. Yeah, he's suffering from the corruption, but he's not, like, dead. Like, you know, what he was before. And then Sonic walks up to Amy and Knuckles and... We already established that they're like in this weird digitized incorporeal state where they cannot touch or interact with anything, and now they're just interacting with anything. Yeah, I kind of forgot to bring that up, but hey, we're back in the story, so hey, this makes total sense. Was this ever explained? No. It was not fucking explained. Anyways, Amy, Tails, and Knuckles go off and doing their thing. So what does Sonic do? So he has to climb these towers. And shit. Wow. Okay, now, this is where a lot of people have talked about this shit, and they were in an upset. They were so fucking done with the game. But let me explain, okay? So first off, in order to actually climb these towers, you need to get the Lookout Coco. They're completely different Coco collectibles that you get from Psy-looping around the present things, which, I won't lie, felt very dirty, because most of these Psy-loop things usually spawn a spring or a dash panel, and I still have PTSD over that. And then you're able to unlock the certain towers in order to climb them. The first tower, or as I like to dub it, the worst fucking platform section of my entire life. And before people decide to make a video into the title, Sonic Frontiers is too hard. Yeah, look, I'm not gonna insult you because I'm a better person here, but you're just sounding like an idiot. Or someone who doesn't know that opinions exist. I don't know. Either one, personally. Was that an insult? Fuck it. I don't care at this point. As much as I would love to talk about the entirety of the tower, the only thing I remember is the bullshit of the tower. There's this section here where there's a bunch of slanted platforms, and don't get me wrong, that's shitty to go through, but if you know how to go through it, it's not that big of a deal. It's this fucking shit at the top here. You need to Psy-loop around this little item thing. I still don't even know what they called it. But anyways, you're supposed to Psy-loop around it, but there's these two dash panels that are right next to it that can fling you off or fuck up your Psy-loop if you're not careful. Now, ordinarily this wouldn't be a big deal, but the platform is so small, and from what I look back at my footage, the hitboxes and hurtboxes on these things are so fucked up that even if Sonic doesn't touch the dash panel, he still triggers it. I spent like over 30 minutes on that, and I won't lie, I was debating on giving up. But I didn't, because I wanted to see how this update continued. So you get to the top and you're talking to one of the ancients that actually piloted the Titans, which honestly is super fucking cool. I thought it was pretty neat being able to talk to some of the ancients that piloted the Titans that we kind of decommissioned. After you talk to them, they'll basically present to you a challenge, if you will. These challenges is basically to see if you're worthy enough of getting power or whatever, blah blah blah. The first challenge basically involves you fighting these basic-ass enemies that go around on Uranus. You know, they have the shield things, you got a side loop to stop them, and they spawn those spikes, blah blah blah. But Sonic's skills have been reset to level 1. Sorry, stats, not skills, I don't know. Sonic's stats are reset to level 1. In other words, it's a little bit challenging. But for me, I didn't personally find this a challenge. A slog, and it took a good amount of time, yes, but it wasn't hard by any means. It was just something that took a lot of time when I feel like it really shouldn't have. Moving on. The second tower, it was a bit of a bitch, but honestly I'd argue it was easier than the first tower, but only because it didn't have this bullshit. So anyways, after you climb the second tower and get to the second challenge, this is where shit gets really stupid. Now, as someone who actually went through a level 1 run with, you know, hard mode and all that shit, I actually did a bit of experimentation around this sort of shit. Basically, for these enemies, I found a way to where you can kind of just parry the little disc thing that it throws at you, and then keep on hitting it, and then parry and rinse and repeat. It's painful for your fucking fingers and shit, but it's a doable process nonetheless. This was something I found out in the base game because I wanted to see what other weaknesses the enemies had, and well, that was one that I found. But here's the thing, if you're someone who didn't know about this, in other words, me forgetting about that tactic a little bit in, how the fuck were you meant to know what you were supposed to be doing unless you decided to experiment yourself? This challenge is dumb. I don't care what anybody says, it's just objectively dumb. The next challenge that you have is fighting the wolves that circle around you. Okay, I guess just hold to parry and, oh, it's done. Oh, by the way, the tower climb wasn't really anything to mention about because it was actually piss easy for some fucking reason. The fourth tower was also super easy, and it made me wonder if they mixed up what towers you were supposed to climb up at first. And the final challenge on there was you fighting Ninja, the first guardian in the game. The point is you gotta fight Ninja, the first fucking thing, and, you're given like around 10 minutes. And after you defeat Ninja, I was kind of expecting another guardian to show up. And then the game told me that I did it. Don't get me wrong, this ninja is completely aggravated and is super fast in comparison to the original. But with how the parry is, it wasn't really a big deal. Even without the parry, after I get hit, I could just press my little QuickTime event thing and just hit him for a shit ton of damage. He does regenerate health though, so if you're not attacking him fast enough, he could stay alive a little longer, so I guess there is a challenge in that. But for me, who has fought these types so many times, it really didn't seem like a challenge to me. Which was super weird because, you know, 10 minutes? This was the equivalent of a video game telling me, hey, spend 40 minutes trying to kill one ogre tail. Because we fucking know you're weak. Anyways, after all those shitty challenges, and only the first two towers were actually shitty, the other two were actually perfectly fine. Then we, you know, go through Knuckles, Tails, and Amy's things, you know, with them getting cyber corruption and whatnot, and, you know, that being an interesting plot point, because, yes, of course, it's an interesting plot point. Then we're back to Sonic with this transition that makes no fucking sense. Why are you just standing here? Just go, you fucking idiot. You climb one more tower, which, actually, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fun to climb up. I actually enjoyed climbing up this tower. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't too easy or too hard by any means. It was in like a perfect middle ground where I just wanted to climb this. Hell, even when I fell down a good portion on it, I actually didn't mind because it wasn't... Don't think that's the right word for it. I'll probably do something to overlap that later. The point is, it didn't feel like bullshit when I fell. Usually when I fall down on this tower, it felt more like my fault instead of the game having shit fucking design. Now once you get to the top of the tower, you expect either some form of a challenge or maybe a new boss to fight before you do all this stuff, and then you see Giganto. So it's a boss rush. Your stats are reduced to 1, similarly to the other challenges, but here's another thing you have to worry about. Perfect guard is a thing. Perfect guard, huh? So what, they made... I realized I should have said parry. So what, you gotta parry at the right time? So basically they just made the parry how it should have been? Well, that doesn't sound too bad. Ew. I see. Now, luckily in this challenge, you do get all of your skills. You're not reduced to just the side loop like from the originals challenges, but Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck is this bullshit? So, like I said, there's perfect parry, which means if you don't know how to parry, you're fucked in this game. When I first played this, the parry had to be frame fucking 1. In other words, you just don't parry if you don't know how to parry. And look, I'm fine with parrying in games. I'm fine with all these precise parries and whatnot. I played Sekiro. I fucking love Sekiro. I love how the parry works in this game. This game doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm fine when the attacks in question are decently telegraphed, so that way I know when I should be going for it. But for the one attack where Giganto does the spin attack, to this day, I don't know when that's supposed to hit, so parrying that was literally impossible. I got so fed up with it that I outright rage quitted the game. But I did look into the challenge itself to see what else you had to do, and I just realized that not only did you have to fight Wyvern and Knight, but your rings from the last fight carry over. Meaning, let's say for when you beat Giganto, you're at 200 rings. You have to fight Wyvern at 200 rings. And you're probably thinking, oh, well, you can just side loop to get more rings or collect some of the rings that are flying when you're fighting Wyvern. The funny little pop-up that not only tells you you need Perfect Guard, also explains no rings can be gathered. In other words, fucking no. This is stupid. This is fucking dumb. You know what's funny? I was watching my friend Z go through this, pretending that I didn't play because, yeah, I was pretending that I didn't play Update 3, which I could probably explain that later at the end of the video, but not right now. The point is, I was watching him go through it, and I noticed that his parries were actually really good. But then again, he plays a lot of games that have these sort of things, so it didn't surprise me. What did surprise me was, unlike in my gameplay, where whenever I pressed the parry for Sonic and hold it down, he seemed to let go immediately after, Sonic seemed to held his parry a decent while, which makes me wonder if there was some sort of update or whatever that made it to where Sonic's parry lasts a little longer even though it's a perfect parry. I don't know. Regardless, it wasn't something that happened on my end, and I was fed up with that. But regardless, while watching Z go through all this, he basically was just kind of like, God damn it, why? I'm surprised he even made it as far as he did. I commend him, don't get me wrong, but Jesus Christ. So what happens afterwards? Did something happen to Tails, Amy, and Knuckles from their cyber corruption? No. Nothing happened. Sure, they look tired and wounded a little, but nothing else happens. That's it. Sonic just goes supersonic and whatever, we fight Supreme, and instead of doing the stupid and near automatic minigame, we actually get to fight Supreme again, but he's attached to a umbilical cord that is coming from the end. Now, I never fought this boss, but I looked at gameplay of it, and the boss looks fine. I'm sure it's actually pretty cool. You need to perfect parry certain things, otherwise you'll literally lose your ring cap. Yes, I'm not joking on that. But let me just say this. The music is fucking awesome. The new rendition, or whatever you want to call it, for I'm Here is so badass, and I wish we would have had this for the base Supreme, or hell, even for the hard mode boss fight in the base game. It just sounds like a cooler final boss music. Too bad it's restricted to something that I'll never be able to access, because I actually care about my mental health for once. But here's something that gets kinda crazy here. After you defeat Supreme, or the end, or both, I don't really know what it is at this point, and you know, you see Sonic's new form and everything, and he's a cold-ass motherfucker. Seriously, he's so fucking cool. I'll say whatever I want about this update, but this new Supersonic thing, it's kinda dope. I'm not gonna deny that, it's super fucking dope. But anyways, Eggman basically shoots Sonic out from the Supreme sniper rifle thing, and then basically, oh my god, is Sonic dead? Oh my god, he's falling down, is he gonna die? And then there's, you know, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, they look fine, no cyber corruption or whatever. What was even the point in that? And then Sonic lands, and you know, I shouldn't be surprised because he's landed like this in numerous different games, like Sonic Unleashed, for example, but I'm still disappointed that we didn't get something interesting like, oh, maybe Sonic's in a coma or whatever from all of that. But that would require good writing, I guess, I don't know. And that's kind of how the game ends for this update. The only thing that really changed is that Sage didn't sacrifice herself immediately, but regardless, she's alive at the end of the credits of the base game. So Sage is just still alive, which, don't get me wrong, I'm glad for, but it's like Sage is still alive, and this makes this ending just feel more or less the same. It didn't feel worth going through. This didn't feel like a new story, it just felt more of like a what-if story if Sonic decided to embrace the drugs that was in him instead of, you know, dropping the nicotine and all that. I don't fucking know, man. It doesn't even fucking matter. So yeah, hated the story, hated the update. I liked a lot of the music. I'm just kidding. I really only liked Knuckles' theme and the I'm Here theme and the new ending theme. I gotta admit, the new ending theme is pretty cool. I do like that. Amy's theme was bland. I didn't care for Tails' theme. I did kind of like it at first, but later down the line, I was like, I don't really care all that much. I really don't. It's not anything to write home about. Now, I know I left out a lot of stuff like the new cyberspace levels, but I hate cyberspace, so why would I do that again? There's also new challenges that you had to do in order to unlock the map again, and why do you think I would fucking do that? And I know I also forgot to mention some of the stuff like the extra pop-in and whatever, but honestly, I don't really care all that much. I mean, this already felt too lazy and boring as is. And for people saying, oh, they were just trying to rush it or whatever, you do realize that's why we fucking hated what Sega was doing all this time, because they rush shit. Don't say that like it's an excuse. You're just making it easier for me to fucking hate this shit. Like, it should be common sense that games take time, you know? It could be a simple 2D platformer and it could still take like 1 to 2 years in order to make sure everything is perfect and whatnot. Maybe I'm underselling it. I don't know. I'm no game dev, but point is, games are hard and you gotta make sure that everything's working fine, or at the very least, you know, pleasurable for the players. And yeah. Now, I want to talk about one more thing before I end the video. Overall, like, I really did not like this update, but I also don't like Sonic Frontiers anymore. For those who haven't seen me before, I actually used to like Sonic Frontiers. In fact, I said that it was one of the best Sonic games of all time in a long while. Was my stupidity really that high back then? Don't get me wrong, I'm not technically wrong. It was objectively a lot better of a Sonic game than the rest of the shit that we've gotten in the past few years. But playing it again made me realize it's mid at best. And before people going like, oh, you're just hating it because of the updates, you're just changing your minds and all that stuff, this just doesn't make any sense. I used to like Sonic and the Secret Rings, and then I grew to hate it. I used to love Sonic Forces, then I grew to hate it. I used to love a lot of classic Sonic games, and then grew to hate them. But then again, that's just more of me just not liking 2D Sonic. That doesn't really constitute for that much. Oh, do we want to do more? I used to like Pokemon. I don't like Pokemon anymore. What else do we got? What else do we fucking got on this list, huh? I used to like Dark Souls, then I fucking hate Dark Souls. I'd rather play a Souls-like that isn't Dark Souls. I know that's fucking weird sounding, but that's the fucking case. There was a lot of things that I used to fucking like, and then I grew to hate it. Or there's some things that I used to hate that I grew to like. And you wanna know what that's called? Opinions changing, you know? And people think that no one can change their opinions. Shut the fuck up. What the fuck? Makes no sense. If you're someone who used to enjoy a game and you didn't like how things were going later down the line or whatever, or you noticed some things that you didn't notice when you were first playing that made you decide to not like it, fam, you're fine. You're 100% fine. If you don't like the game anymore, cool. Who fucking cares? Do you know how many people who I've seen completely enjoying Final Fantasy XIV at first, but then slowly started to not like it, or the other way around even? That's fine. Everyone has the full right to change their opinions on how they feel about certain games and whatnot. Trust me, I wish I could enjoy Sonic Frontiers like how I used to, but unfortunately, that's just not how it's gonna be. You can ridicule me, call me some insults or whatever, but in the end, I'm still in my own right. I'm not gonna force my opinion onto anybody or whatever. All I ask is that you shut the fuck up when it comes to thinking that I'm just in the wrong for having an opinion. That's all. That's all, really. This wasn't really a long video, nor did I really plan it to be well scripted or anything, but I felt like I had to make this video because, well, Jesus Christ, it was just something or another. Consider this like more of a
get the fuck away from my opinion sort of shit with Sonic Frontiers. Like fucking hell. Like I mentioned before, I pretended like I didn't play through Update 3. I only told a select few of people because I knew they wouldn't tell any other people. The reason I hid that is because so many people were telling me that, like, because I was hating stuff like the combat and everything, and everyone was just like, oh, this is not like you at all. What, it's not like me to realize the flaws of a game that I played more and more? If I didn't do that, then Sonic Adventure 2 would be one of my favorite games of all time. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Even in games that I classify as my favorites of all time, I've noticed flaws through them that I didn't notice at first. For games like Final Fantasy XIV, Nier Automata, even Sonic Adventure DX, which is my favorite Sonic game of all time. Every game has flaws. There's no getting around it. Unless you're Tetris. Tetris, you're a flawless ass game. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to say. Like I said, if you guys enjoy the new update, cool. If you don't, hey, that's also cool. Just play nice with one another. If I see any shitty shit happening in the fucking comments, I'm gonna delete them, okay? If I see any arguing or some bullshit in the comments, they're getting deleted. Simple as that. I don't give a fuck, okay? Because that's just, no. Don't be fucking 12 mentally, okay? If you want to voice your opinion on the update in the comments, maybe say some stuff that you liked or what you didn't like or whatever, without throwing curveballs at anybody who feels the opposite way of you, then that's totally fine. You have more than enough right to do such. Just as long as it's not in any insulting matter or whatever, you are more than welcome to leave whatever comment you like talking about the update. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble about this game, and I'll see you all whenever I can get to y'all.